Hello, I'm Jeff Paur, Senior Editor with RealTime Fantasy Sports, and welcome to the RealTime Fantasy Sports Show. It is time for 5 of my favorite waiver wire pickups for Week 13 of the fantasy football season. I'll be quite honest with you. I am not thrilled with the options on the waiver wire this week. Not a lot of great players out there, in my opinion. The good news is there are no teams on a bye this week. It is Thanksgiving Day week of football, and there are no teams on a bye, so that's a good thing. But the options are not great out there. I'll give you 5 of my favorite options for this week. Some of these guys I think could help, but again, kind of slim pickings out there. It's late in the season, though, and this happens on the waiver wire. So be prepared the rest of the way. It could be more of the same going forward. But my first pickup for this week is Gus Edwards, the running back with the Los Angeles Chargers, owned on 44.8% of leagues on our site. J.K. Dobbins suffered some sort of knee injury last week. We really haven't gotten a lot of details on it just yet, but he has a long injury history, and he was unable to return to the game. He returned briefly, left again after he had a knee brace on. Obviously, something's not right, but Edwards could be the starter for the next few weeks if Dobbins has to miss any time. And Edwards has good value in that role. He won't get many receptions, but he has good touchdown potential, could rack up some rushing yards in a run-heavy offense in Los Angeles. So especially if you're a Dobbins owner, I'd go pick up Edwards. But even if you're not and you're looking for some running back help, Edwards could be a good pickup in the short term. My next pickup for this week is Adam Thielen, the receiver with the Carolina Panthers, owned on 36.8% of leagues on our site. Thielen finally returned last week from his hamstring injury. He's been out since week 3. Looked pretty good. Caught 3 passes for 57 yards and 4 targets. Panthers are looking much better offensively with Bryce Young reinserted as a starting quarterback, and he's played pretty well since his return to the lineup, kind of been more of a game manager. But either way, he's moving that offense better, and Thielen could be a guy that racks up the targets. He did that a lot last year as their number one option in the passing game, and they're still looking for options there in Carolina to make plays in their passing game. I think Thielen might be the best guy the rest of the way, so he's a good speculative pickup, could be a help for fantasy teams down the stretch. My next pickup is Will Levis, quarterback for the Tennessee Titans, owned on 28.4% of leagues on our site. If you're looking for a quarterback, I think he's a good streaming option going forward. I think he's looked really good since his return from a shoulder injury. He still hasn't posted great numbers, but they've been pretty solid. He threw for 275 passing yards last week, and he has 20-plus fantasy points 2 of 3 games. So he's making some plays. He's pushing the ball down the field, not turning the ball over. I think he's finally taking a step forward. As I mentioned, I think he could be a spot play the rest of the way. There's a lot of buys, not this week, but the following week. There's 6 more teams on a bye. So if you're looking for a quarterback that week, I think Levis could be a good bye week replacement in week 14. My next pickup is Washington Commanders running back Jeremy McNichols, owned on 11.8% of leagues on our site. Not many running backs out there that's going to help fantasy owners at this point of the season, but Austin Eckler went down with a concussion. It was a nasty hit. It seems like he may have avoided the worst of it, but either way, he could miss the next few weeks because of that concussion, and that means McNichols could be the top backup for the Commanders, and he's played pretty well in that role. He has double-digit fantasy points 2 times this year. I think he could be worth adding, especially if you're an Eckler owner or you're just looking for some running back depth the next couple of games. My last pickup is another Commander and is Noah Brown, the receiver, owned on 19.2% of leagues on our site. He had season highs last week. He had 6 catches for 71 yards on 10 targets. He has double-digit fantasy points 3 of 5 games. He's a big play threat in this Commander's offense. I think he has a pretty good weekly ceiling at this point of the year. He makes some plays in that passing game on a weekly basis, always capable of the big play. He's good in the red zone. So I think Brown's a good addition to fantasy teams, especially if you're looking for a receiver. All right, those are 5 of my favorite waiver wire pickups for week 13 of the fantasy football season. I hope you have a lot of success in navigating those waiver wires this week, and happy Thanksgiving. This has been Jeff Paur for RealTime Fantasy Sports.